My wife texted me at 4 a.m. Something came up. I replied, "Stay with him. You're single now." 20 minutes later, she was crying outside my door. It was 4 a.m. when my phone vibrated. I wasn't asleep anyway. Work had been brutal lately, and my mind was still running through tomorrow's presentation. Then I saw my wife's name on the screen. Amanda. Something came up. "Relax, I'll explain soon." I stared at the message. Amanda was the kind of woman who proofread every text before sending it. She hated typos. She corrected mine all the time. Now she had sent me a rushed message at 4 in the morning from somewhere she wasn't supposed to be. She was supposed to be at her sister Emily's house. Girls' night, wine, movies, back home in the morning. That had become a regular thing lately. Too regular. I sat on the edge of the bed, rereading those 5 words. Something came up at 4 in the morning, and somehow I was supposed to relax. The truth, I wasn't shocked, disappointed, angry, but not surprised. For weeks I'd been noticing little things. She spent more time getting ready before going out. Her phone was always face down. She smiled at messages, but never let me see the screen. If I asked an innocent question, "How was Emily? Who else was there?" she'd immediately become defensive. "Why are you interrogating me?" There were always emergencies. Someone needed her. Someone was crying. Someone couldn't possibly survive the night without Amanda. I considered calling Emily, then stopped. Why bother? I already knew the answer. Instead, I typed one sentence. No need to explain. "Stay with him. You're single now." I hit send. Immediately my phone exploded. Call, 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 another call. I rejected every one, then silenced my phone. 20 minutes later, tires screeched into the driveway. Someone pounded on the front door. The doorbell started ringing nonstop. I stayed exactly where I was. After another minute, I slowly stood up, put on a t-shirt, walked downstairs, looked through the peephole. Amanda, still wearing the black dress she'd left in. Hair a mess, mascara running down her cheeks. She looked like she'd cried the entire drive home. "Please," she shouted through the door. "Jason, open the door." I unlocked it, left the security chain on, opened it just a few inches. "It's 4:30 in the morning," I said calmly. "Interesting time to finally come home." She burst into tears. "Please, you don't understand." "I think I understand perfectly. I can explain." "Then explain." "You were supposed to be at your sister's. You weren't. You texted me at 4 in the morning saying something came up. And now you're standing here looking exactly like someone who just got caught." She pressed closer to the opening. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" "Because from where I'm standing, it looks exactly like you got caught cheating." She shook her head violently. "No, I was helping a friend." "At 4 in the morning?" "Yes." "What kind of emergency?" She hesitated, just for a second, but that second told me everything. She needed someone to talk to. "Who?" "Jenna." I almost smiled. "Jenna moved to Denver 6 months ago." Amanda froze. I meant Courtney." "Really?" "Yes. Courtney had a panic attack." "At 4 in the morning?" "Yes. And instead of calling her parents, her boyfriend, 911. She called you?" Amanda swallowed hard. "Please, just let me inside. You've had 20 minutes to come up with a believable story. This is the best you've got." I noticed lights turning on into neighboring houses. People were waking up. Good. Let them wonder. "I'm telling you the truth." "No, you're not, and we both know it." I started closing the door. She pushed against it. "Jason, please, where are you going to sleep tonight?" I asked quietly. "Back where you came from." She just kept crying, begging, repeating that I had to believe her. But something inside me had already changed. The moment I sent that text, I realized there were some decisions that couldn't be undone, and some betrayals that couldn't be explained away. Amanda sat frozen on the porch, tears running down her face. "I was with someone," she whispered. For a second, I felt nothing. No anger, no shock, just confirmation. "So the truth finally showed up," I said quietly. She covered her face with both hands. "It isn't what you think. I've heard that line too many times tonight." She looked at me desperately. "It only happened once. Tonight was the first time," I asked. She nodded. "How long have you been talking to him?" Silence. "Amanda, about 6 weeks." I let out a slow breath. "So for 6 weeks you've been lying to me." I never wanted it to happen, but it did. She started crying harder. It just happened. No, I replied. Nothing just happens. Every text message was a choice. Every lie was a choice. Every fake girl's night was a choice. She couldn't even look at me. Who is he? She hesitated. Derek. Derek, from accounting? She slowly nodded. I actually laughed. You're risking 8 years of marriage for Derek Lawson? Please don't make fun of him. That sentence told me more than anything else. I'm not making fun of him, I answered. I'm realizing how little our marriage meant to you. She stepped closer. I love you. No, you love the safety I gave you. Her shoulders collapsed. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting our anniversary. I looked straight into her eyes. This was a decision you made every single day for 6 weeks. She began shaking. I don't want to lose you. You should have thought about that before tonight. She grabbed my arm. Please, let's try counseling. I gently pulled away. Counseling only works when someone tells the truth before they're caught. Her eyes widened. I would have told you. When? Silence. Tomorrow? Nothing. Next month. She lowered her head. I don't know. Exactly. For the first time all night, she stopped arguing. I took my phone from my pocket. I already called a divorce attorney. Her head snapped up. You what? Right after your text. You decided before hearing my side. I decided when you texted me at 4 in the morning. Instead of calling your husband. She looked completely defeated. What if you were wrong? If I had been wrong, you would have answered your phone immediately. She couldn't respond. Instead she whispered, I'm sorry. I looked at her for several seconds. Sorry for cheating. Or sorry you got caught? Again. No answer. That was all I needed. My phone rang. It was Amanda's mother. I answered. Good morning, Linda. What's happening? She asked nervously. Amanda called crying. I looked at Amanda standing on the porch. Did she tell you where she spent the night? Silence. Then Linda quietly asked, Amanda, is there something you need to tell me? Amanda burst into tears. I'm sorry, Mom. Linda's voice immediately changed. Is it true? Amanda slowly nodded. I made a terrible mistake. Linda sighed deeply. Your father and I didn't raise you to treat people this way. Amanda cried even harder. Please help me. I can't fix what you chose to break. I respected Linda in that moment more than ever. She wasn't making excuses. She wasn't blaming me. She simply said, I'm sorry this happened to you. After the call ended, Amanda looked completely broken. Even my own mother. She told you the truth. She wiped away tears. What happens now? I meet my attorney this morning. So that's it. Yes, you won't even think about forgiving me? I already forgive you. She looked surprised. But forgiveness doesn't mean I stay married. She stared at me. I never thought you'd actually leave. I know. That was probably the biggest mistake she'd made. Amanda stood there in silence, unable to look me in the eye. So, that's really it? She asked. I nodded. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine. She reached for my hand again, but I stepped back. Please, don't throw away 8 years. I looked at her calmly. I didn't throw them away. You did. She covered her face. I don't know what happened to me. I do. She slowly looked up. You stopped respecting our marriage long before tonight. I still love you. If you loved me, Derek would have never become part of our story. She had no answer. For several seconds neither of us spoke. Only the early morning breeze broke the silence. Finally she whispered, What am I supposed to do now? I honestly don't know. She stared at the porch floor. I have nowhere to go. You had somewhere to go a few hours ago. She flinched. I was stupid. Yes, I ruined everything. Yes, I'll never forgive myself. That's something you'll have to live with. She took a deep breath. I never thought you'd actually leave me. I never thought you'd actually betray me. Those words seemed to hit harder than anything else I'd said. She started crying again. Not dramatic tears anymore. Just quiet tears from someone finally realizing there was no way back. I wish I could take it all back. So do I. She looked toward the driveway. I guess I'll go to my parents. I think that's the best place for you. She nodded slowly. Before walking away, she turned one last time. If someday you ever find it in your heart to forgive me, I interrupted gently. I already forgive you, Amanda. She looked confused, but forgiving someone isn't the same as trusting them again. Another tear rolled down her cheek. I understand. For the first time that night, I believed she actually did. She picked up her purse and walked toward her car without saying another word. I watched her drive away until the taillights disappeared around the corner. Then I closed the front door, locked it, leaned against it for a few seconds. The house was silent. It hurt. 8 years don't disappear overnight. But beneath the pain there was something unexpected. Relief. Because the waiting was over. The doubts were over. The lies were over. I walked into the kitchen, poured myself a fresh cup of coffee, and looked out the window as the sun began to rise. At 9 o'clock, I would meet with my attorney. For the first time in weeks, I knew exactly what the next chapter of my life would look like. 3 months later, my life looked completely different. The divorce had been finalized without a fight. Amanda signed every document her attorney put in front of her. There wasn't much she could argue about. We bought the house before we got married, and legally it belonged to me. For the first few weeks, she stayed with her parents. According to Ally, that didn't last long. Her father grew tired of watching her cry every day, and her mother stopped defending her after learning the full truth. Eventually, Amanda rented a small apartment across town. She was still working at the same company. Ironically, Derek wasn't. A former co-worker called me one afternoon. "You'll never believe what happened." "What?" "Derek's girlfriend found out." Apparently, Tara had suspected something for weeks. She confronted both of them at work in front of half the accounting department. People said it was unforgettable. She had screenshots, phone records, pictures, receipts. Amanda tried to claim she didn't know Derek had a girlfriend. Unfortunately for her, Tara reminded everyone they had all attended the company Christmas party together. There was nowhere to hide. Within days, Derek lost his job. Amanda kept hers, but no one looked at her the same way again. Trust disappears quickly. Respect disappears even faster. The biggest surprise? Less than 2 weeks later, Derek had already started seeing another woman. Amanda wasn't special. She had simply been the next person in line. One afternoon, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. But I knew exactly who it was. "I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I'm in therapy now. I'm trying to understand why I destroyed everything. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know I'm trying to become a better person." I read the message once, then deleted it. No reply. Not because I hated her, because there was simply nothing left to say. A month later, Ally called me. "I hope I'm not bothering you." "Not at all. Amanda keeps asking if you'll ever speak to her again." I smiled sadly. "I don't think that would help either of us." I told her the same thing. Ally replied, "She still thinks maybe someday you'll change your mind." "I already have." "What do you mean?" "I changed the day I realized I deserved better." There was silence. Finally, she said, "I honestly don't blame you." Life slowly became peaceful again. I repainted the house, bought new furniture, started hiking on weekends, reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years. I even learned how to cook instead of ordering takeout every night. Work improved too, without constantly wondering where Amanda really was. I had more energy to focus on my career. A few months later, I received a promotion. For the first time in years, my home actually felt calm. No arguments, no suspicion, no checking phone notifications, no pretending everything was okay. Just peace. One Saturday, my neighbor Brian invited me out for burgers. While we were eating, he smiled. "So, yeah, any regrets?" I didn't even need to think. None. Not even about ending the marriage. I shook my head. "I don't regret loving someone." I paused. "But I would have regretted staying after the trust was gone." Brian nodded. "That's probably the healthiest thing I've heard all week." Later that evening, while grilling dinner in my backyard, my phone rang again. This time it was Linda, Amanda's mother. "I hope I'm not interrupting." "Not at all. I just wanted to tell you something." "I'm listening." She sighed. "I spent months wondering if we could have saved your marriage. And I finally realized something." "What?" "You didn't end it. My daughter did." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she quietly added, "I hope one day you meet someone who truly appreciates the kind of man you are." "Thank you, Linda." After we hung up, I stood on the deck watching the sunset. I thought back to that text message at 4 o'clock in the morning. Something came up. "Relax, I'll explain soon." Funny, that single message ended one chapter of my life and started a much better one. Sometimes the hardest decision is also the right one. And sometimes losing the person you loved is exactly what allows you to find yourself again.